everybody, it's Emily at Homeschooling, and welcome back to another episode of Homeschool Tidbits. Today we're doing episode 69, Homeschooling High School Q&A. In this weekly video series, I'll delve briefly into a topic related to homeschooling, and I'll share some of my knowledge and expertise as a longtime homeschooling mother of 4 children, 3 of whom have graduated high school, and 1 was a college graduate, and 1 who will soon be a college graduate. If there is one thing that stresses out a homeschool parent, it is the idea of homeschooling through high school. So many people just opt out entirely because it just seems like it's going to be too much to tackle on our own. But having graduated 3 of my 4 kids and teaching 1 who is in high school right now, I can tell you that not only is it not as scary as you think, but it is also totally doable. I asked my audience on Instagram if you had any questions about homeschooling through high school, and yeah, you do. You delivered. You gave me more questions than I can reasonably manage in one homeschool tidbit video. So today I'm going to answer just a few of those questions, the ones that I think are probably the ones most people have. So let's start with the first question. By far, the most common question I got was about transcripts. Whether it was how to make them or what to put on them, how many credits to give a course, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and start there. First things first, I want to demystify transcripts. A high school transcript is essentially just a list of courses taken each year of high school, along with the number of credits per course and grades and a GPA. That's it. That is all that needs to be on a transcript. That is the same thing a public or private school will provide. That is what a college is looking for. Just think of it as an extended 4-year report card. If you have been record keeping all along, then you are more than prepared. This is nothing you cannot handle. And if you haven't, well, it's just going to be one more step. My favorite tool by far for this is a website called myhomeschoolgrades.com, and I will link it down below. It's also going to be linked in the blog article that goes with this video. So I use their website to make the transcripts that I used for my older kids who went to college, and we had 0 issues with those transcripts. They were very easy to create, and they look very professional. It's really easy to use. You're going to end up with great transcripts at the end of your homeschooling years. You can even set it up so that it can figure out your grades. It can give you a GPA. It helps you to work out credits. It's very easy to use. I think it's a phenomenal tool. I highly recommend checking that out. So as to creating the course load, what I do is I start planning for high school when we hit about 8th grade. That's when I start thinking ahead as far as, is college on the horizon? What do we need to graduate in our state? That sort of thing. So once I get an idea of that, I like to look at the schools in our area, or the colleges nearby where I think my children might want to apply, where we could afford for them to go, that sort of thing. So I start there. Because often what a college wants to see on a transcript will be a little bit different from what the bare minimum graduation requirements are going to be. So you want to figure out what you're looking for as far as where you think your child will go. Of course, we don't know. We don't know where our children are going to end up after 4 years of high school, but we can start with a basic plan. So once I know what will be required, then I can consider what courses we're going to take and when. I have a video about big picture planning for high school that I'm also going to link down below, and that would be a really helpful video to watch if you want to know more about the more detailed ideas of how to plan. So definitely recommend checking that video out. But to give you an example of what, say, 9th grade might look like, it could be something like this on your transcript. So English 1, prehistory, Earth and Space Science, Algebra 1, Jazz Ensemble, Studio Art, Intro to Literary Analysis, and Spanish 1. So once I know what our course load will look like, then we can figure out how many credits each course will be worth. So credits are based on how many hours it will take to complete the course. If it's a full year course, say English 1, Algebra, something that you're going to be working on every day all year long, that's a full credit. If it's a semester-long course, so you're only doing it for half the year, it's a half credit. If it's only a 6 to 8 week class, then that's going to be somewhere around a quarter credit. Another way that you can figure this out is to consider the number of hours that were spent in the course. So a course subject, again, like English, you're going to do daily. If they spend 150 to 180 hours over the course of the year on that coursework, that is equal to a full credit. Be sure that when your child is taking an outside class, that you specify that you need a grade for that class so that you have grades for everything that they've taken. I start making our transcript in 9th grade, and then I add to it as we go each year. That way I am not scrambling around when we're trying to pull everything together and apply for colleges. That's way too stressful. So build it as you go, and it'll be ready when you need it. I also have a video about figuring out how to assign grades in high school, so if that is something that you need more details about, I definitely recommend checking that out. Again, it'll be linked down below. Another question I got asked pretty frequently was, how do you balance extracurricular activities while needing time at home? What we do may not be what everyone does, but for us, for my family, we have limited our outside extracurriculars to the evenings and the late afternoon so that we can get our schoolwork done during the day. We are creatures of habit here, and we need our routine. And if our schedules get too wacky, then we won't get anything done. So I try to limit the number of outside activities my children participate in. They don't need to do everything under the sun to have a good or well-rounded childhood or even a well-rounded high school years. Like, 1 or 2 well thought out activities are more than enough. So for example, my youngest is 15 and she takes karate classes in the evenings. She's also in a leadership program at karate where she's learning to help teach classes, and she volunteers once a week to assist. She's dedicated and she's made a lot of friends through karate, which has been a great experience for her overall. My advice is to choose extracurriculars that will best suit your teen and ideally lead them towards the goals that they have. So another example, one of my twins took art classes at our local high school because that's what made the most sense for her. She wanted to go into art and have a focus in that direction, so that's where we put our extra effort and energy into extracurriculars. And now she's about to graduate from college with a degree in illustration. Several people also requested more information about planning for high school while you are still in the middle school years. Again, I think the big picture planning video I mentioned earlier would be super helpful here. So I definitely still recommend going and watching that, but I'm still going to touch on this briefly here. So the best time to start thinking about high school and planning for that is while you're in the middle school years. This is when you can get experimental. Haven't taken outside classes yet? Do that now in the middle school years. Want to try some online classes? Do it in the middle school years. This is the best time because the middle school years are when you can try out new things without consequences. None of this will be on their transcripts. It doesn't matter in the long run, so this is the best time to test the waters. You don't want to be starting out a brand new thing like an outside class or even an online class right at the beginning of high school because it takes a minute to figure out how these things work, especially if you're in an outside class where there's other kids involved and they're not used to that. So you want to do all these things earlier if possible when they don't really matter. That first class should be something kind of fun that doesn't really matter overall, something silly, whatever. That way that they can kind of get adjusted without having any kind of expectation put on them. Then once they have done that and they're more comfortable with the format, then you can start doing more academic-y things and make it more challenging. And then once you are at high school level, they've already been a pro at it, and you can jump into more challenging content, and now it's worth high school credit. This is also a great time to figure out what track your student is going to be on. Again, you're not going to know 100% at the beginning of high school, and their minds might change halfway through, but having a general idea early on will really help to figure out what you're going to do as far as electives and extracurriculars go. My kids have all been mostly art focused, so we had a lot of conversations about what that means to them going through high school, and it helped me to figure out what we should spend our time and energy working on so that they could achieve their goals. Right now, in conversation with my youngest, she again is on an art track and wants to focus more on digital art with maybe a potential to go into animation at some point. So I'm going to be adding in more and more art classes as we go through high school. And that should help her to be prepared and, if necessary, have a really great portfolio of work to show. The middle school years are also a great time to start getting your feet wet with regards to grading. You do not need to grade everything yet, but giving them a few grades in a few of their core classes will help them to start understanding how that works and give them an idea about what high school level work will be like. So I hope that I've helped today to make homeschooling through high school feel a bit less intimidating. I have loved homeschooling my teens. It's honestly been some of my favorite years in our homeschooling journey. And I hope that I've inspired and motivated you to tackle homeschooling in the high school years. If you found this video to be helpful, I hope that you'll check out Build Your Library curriculum. Build Your Library is a secular, literature-rich homeschool curriculum inspired by Charlotte Mason's philosophy of education. Based on nearly 20 years of homeschooling, I have created the curriculum that I wish I'd had when I first started homeschooling my children. I have spent thousands of hours cultivating the best literature to enhance your children's studies. Our lesson plans make homeschooling simple. Just open them up, gather your books, and go. Our easy-to-use lesson plans include everything you need to homeschool. Just add math. Choose from our full-year K-12 levels, as well as fun topical unit studies and our newest product, Lit Bites. With Build Your Library, you will cultivate a home library filled with captivating literature, and you'll raise children who become lifelong learners. So snuggle up with our lesson plans and a great book or three and have your best homeschool year ever. I hope you found this video to be helpful. Come back next week for more homeschooling inspiration. Until then, happy reading. Bye.